Tony, your biggest takeaways from yesterday's discussions.
Well, I'm sure we'll spend quite a bit of this show talking about quarterbacks, so I'll leave that for now. I think my biggest takeaway from talking with Jim Knowles is that there's still no decision at free safety, and there's some concern there. Some angst is the word that Jim Knowles used. So it's still down to Jihad Carter, Josh Proctor, and true freshman Malik Hartford. I'm expecting it to be Jihad Carter, but Ryan Day and Knowles have both said that Hartford is going to play. So at some point he'll be out there. We'll see. Josh Proctor maybe in a run support role they were talking about. I just think you've got so many good parts on the defense right now, and they're feeling so good about the corners, the linebackers, the defensive line. Obviously, Sonny Styles at the nickel and Lathan Ransom at the strong safety. The one area where you don't want to have a concern is that last line of defense at free safety, and that's the one area where they do have some concern. Now, you've got some decent options. Like I said, a 3-year starter at Syracuse, Jihad Carter, who they like but has to stay healthy. Josh Proctor has seen a bunch. He's won a job out of fall camp the last 2 years. Hasn't kept the job, but he's won a job. Then, of course, Malik Hartford, who has the higher potential, more potential than either of those guys, but he's still a true freshman. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that transpires and how that evolves over the course of the season. But I think that was the biggest personnel takeaway for me from talking to Knowles.
Steve, biggest takeaways from yesterday?
Oh, there were several. I'll stick with Knowles. I think that they like the defensive line. I think that they've got 3 defensive ends who they are absolutely in love with right now. JT Tuimoloau, Jack Sawyer, Kenyatta Jackson, with Caden Curry and maybe even Mitchell Melton all right there in that group. Defensive tackle, I think you got a strong 2-2 there with Tyleik Williams and Mike Hall maybe as the starters, Tywan Malone, Ty Hamilton as the backups, Jaden McKenzie also in that mix. So I think they're pretty happy about that. I think you're 2-2 at linebacker. You got Eichenberg and Steele Chambers as the starters with CJ Hicks and Cody Simon right there nipping at their heels. They'd start for just about every other Big Ten team, I would think. Simon for sure. And Hicks, we just don't know because we haven't really seen an abundance of play. But Simon, to me, was a guy every time I went to practice was making plays all the time, just kind of stuck in a numbers game there. Corners, you got to be happy with Igbinosun, Hancock, and Burke. 2 of the 3 will be on the field at all times. Sounds like they're going to rotate those guys. And we talked about that on a previous show. How Ohio State's had some pretty good 3-man corner rotations in the past that really paid great dividends and kept a fresh guy on the field at all times. So I think that's important. Over on offense, Carson Hinsman has never played a down of college football. I confirmed that with our friend Dan Hope from 11 Warriors, who does the play counts. Before I asked my question of Ryan Day, I turned to Dan Hope and I said, 0 snaps for Carson Hinsman last year. And Dan Hope looked at me and he said 0. So Carson Hinsman's first snap will be the first time the offense goes out against Indiana as the starting center. The rest of the line is what we thought it would be. Donovan Jackson and Matthew Jones at the guards, Josh Simmons at left tackle, and Josh Fryer at right tackle, although he said Luke Montgomery will also play, perhaps even in this game. So if they get up big, they'll put the second-team offensive line in, certainly. And Luke Montgomery and some other guys, maybe even Austin Sierreveld, who I wonder if could be the next, one of the next people up. I think Enoch Vamahi is the next guy up at guard, and Victor Cutler would be the next guy up at center. But I wonder if Sierreveld could also maybe be on that second team. Let's see. Running back, we got a clear pecking order with Travion Henderson, then Mayan Williams, then Chip Trianum, then Dallin Hayden, who must be the best fourth-team running back in college football, and then Evan Pryor, who may be the best fifth-team running back in college football. So how are you going to find carries for all 5 of those guys? I don't know. But, if this game gets out of control, or Youngstown State and Western Kentucky get out of control, then maybe you'll see all 5 of them get a carry in the same game, which would be kind of unique. But, I think, Unlike last year where they were scraping around and didn't have enough bodies to fill the position, now it seems like they've got plenty of help there. And then obviously the quarterback position, which he discussed at great length. He spoke for 37 minutes, Tony, and I would bet 15 to 20 of it was on every conceivable aspect and angle of the quarterback position, including Comrade Rob Aller of the Columbus Dispatch. You know how he loves to sneak those sly questions, but you'd really rather only have one, wouldn't you? You know, Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, I suppose you would, but you got two. So there you go.